Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylin Flores and this is Dietitian with a Mission. Today we will be cooking with one of the most versatile, well-loved starchy vegetable, potatoes. I've got a few recipes for you. Our first is going to be an herbed potato salad. Now, unlike the classic American potato salad that uses a lot of heavy creams and not too many herbs, this is going to be an olive oil based potato salad packed with different types of herbs and flavor. So let's jump into it. I hope you enjoy.
We're going to start with 1 pound of freshly washed baby potatoes or new spuds, stone ground mustard, the juice of 1/3 lemon, fresh parsley, green onion, or you can use chives, 2 cloves garlic, and some olive oil. Of course, you're going to have salt and pepper to taste. So first, we're going to slice the potatoes in rounds, about a 1/4 inch thick, the size of like your fingernail tip. We're doing this instead of cubes, just for some different presentation and also expedites the cooking time. Add your potatoes to a pan, then submerge your potatoes with water. You want to cover the potatoes in no more than 1 inch above the potatoes with the water. And then you're going to salt your water as well and boil it with the lid on. While the potatoes are coming to a boil, we're going to make our dressing by adding the parsley to a blender or a food processor. Now I have a small handful of parsley, it's about 1/3 of a bunch or a couple tablespoons. And then we're only going to use 1/3 of the lemon for this dressing, and this is really to preference. You can of course use more if you'd like. Just be sure to get the seeds. I failed to get 2 seeds in the squeezing process, so I had to dig through with a spoon and get them later. I'm using 2 cloves garlic, but if you like things extra garlicky, you can use more or you can use less. And I really like onions, so I'm using both chive and green onion. Feel free to just select one or the other if you want a more mild flavor. You could also save the chives as like a topping after. We're gonna add a sploosh or blop of stone ground mustard. It's about a teaspoon or so. And then several tablespoons of olive oil. Since we aren't cooking this olive oil, we can actually use an extra virgin olive oil, which has a really robust flavor and therefore adds a lot of depth to this recipe. And then you're gonna need some salt and pepper, of course, to taste. I'd say start with about 1/4 teaspoon each. To make the dressing, we're going to add some of our water. Now you can wait until the potatoes are done boiling and add 1/4 cup, or you can grab a couple tablespoons of your water mid-boil and throw it in your blender as well. You'll get this really nice creamy dressing, and before you know it, your potatoes will be done boiling. It might take about 5 to 6 minutes, but you just want to boil it until they're soft enough to pierce through a fork. And it should be a really smooth texture. It shouldn't be too firm. Now we're using the new potato, so they should hold their shape fairly well. It shouldn't fall apart and disintegrate totally. If it does, you likely boiled it for too long. Dump out the water. And again, if you didn't grab your boiling water for your dressing earlier, then you would save some of that. Here is our herb dressing. Not super heavy, not filled with mayo or sour cream. It's really light, really herbaceous, very springy, which is very refreshing. And for crunch, we're actually going to add some fennel. So fennel is a part of the licorice family or anise family. And we're doing this instead of celery, just for some variety, to spring up the recipe a bit, to add some newness. It's a rather mild flavor, so hopefully it's worth trying for you. Then you just mix it all together. Now let it cool so that the flavors marinate, and when you're ready, give it a taste.
So as you saw, very fast, easy, simple recipe. It's beautiful and luxurious and green and so tasty. Let's give it a try. This recipe is really versatile too, because if you don't want to have as rich of an oniony flavor, you can omit the green onions or omit the chives. If you want to have more garlic or more lemon, increase the garlic, increase the lemon. If you want to have some spice, use a spicy Dijon mustard instead of a regular, or add more cracked black pepper. If you don't like fennel, you can use celery for a little bit of crunch. Very versatile recipe. Either way you decide to jazz up this potato salad recipe, I hope you enjoy.
Our next delightful recipe is a sweet potato spread. Our ingredients include salt, smoked paprika, cumin, tahini, which is ground sesame seeds, olive oil, parsley, lemon, and of course, sweet potato. You'll need 2 to 3, depending on the size. Preheat your oven to 425 degrees and pierce your potatoes with a fork about 4 to 6 times so that it's evenly pierced. Bake in the oven for 45 to 60 minutes on any cooking sheet or cast iron skillet. Once it's done cooking, you should see that the skin wrinkles, the yummy juices ooze out of the potato, and the potato should be so soft that cutting it is a cinch. You might even be able to smash it with the back of a spoon or a fork. Roasting it this way is going to be super important because it's going to caramelize the natural starches and make the potatoes sweet, which really makes this dip rich. While your potato's cooling, assemble your other ingredients in a small food processor or a blender. So that's going to be a handful of parsley, you can include the stems, 3 tablespoons tahini, again this is an unseasoned sesame seed paste, the juice of half a lemon, be sure to catch any seeds or remove any seeds if they fall in, about a half a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of cumin, so this is really adding a lot of flavor to the dip. Many dips have garlic in it, and this is actually a garlic-free recipe. And then 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. If you don't have smoked, you can use regular, but I think smoked gives it an extra kick. And then we have 3/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Of course, don't forget to squeeze out the flesh of the sweet potato and add it to the mixture. Be sure to let your sweet potato cool all the way, that way you don't create a suction vacuum seal on your blender and then have it explode when you open it. Once it's cooled, adjust salt to taste and store it in a container. When you're ready to serve, garnish it with olive oil, parsley, and a slice of lemon.